then give us a signal.
But what is the problem in setting up a lamp? That was a different ceremony. This is housewarming ceremony. Queen Subrisi, light the lamp.
The Harambee Stars squad that clothed the Super Eagles of Nigeria turned Gabon as well to the delight of their fans at Kasarani, where they kept them on their feet.
And it in! Yes, it's there! Yes, it's there! He makes good of his mistake.
We continue our trip down memory lane this Saturday at 4 p.m. as we recap the 1998 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier straight from our archives and only on KBC Channel 1, Soca's finest.
Hamjambo wa Kenya wenzangu. Mimi ni prosecutor. Niko hapa kusisitiza maagizo ambayo tunapewa na Wizara ya Afya kuhusu ugonjwa wa coronavirus. Tunaambiwa pahali pana watu wengi lazima tuweke distance, yani kuweka hatua mita moja kwa mwenzako. Ukienda kwa matatu, weka distance. Ukienda kwa soko ama palipopote mkusanyiko wa watu, ni vizuri uweze kupeana hiyo social distance ili tuweze kumaliza maambukizi. Tukifuata haya masharti ama maagizo ambayo tunapewa na Wizara ya Afya, hakika tutaangamiza coronavirus na hali yetu ya kawaida tutairudia. Asanteni sana.
Kenyans watching. As always, it is a pleasure having you each and every day. Thank you very much for keeping it KBC Channel 1. It is the 18th of June 2020, a fine Thursday morning, and we appreciate your presence right here. This is Good Morning Kenya. My name is Ram Aguko. We are broadcasting live from the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation here in Nairobi. It is now 5 minutes past 7 o'clock. We are live also on our Facebook platforms, on our social media platforms, on YouTube, Twitter, and on our website at www.kbc.co.ke. Praying that you shall be together with us from now till the tail end of this morning show. We have a lot in store for you in the headlines, traffic, and much more. And just to give you a snippet of what's going on one of our dailies, NASA dead, Ruto and Kalonzo join Uhuru Raila axis. Is this the case? We shall be looking at what is in the headlines this morning to find out what is making stories both nationally and internationally.
Right, and this morning on our roads, we look at Manyanja Road, one of the latest roads to be reconstructed here in Nairobi, and also serves a number of estates, especially as you come to the city center in the early morning hour. We look at how traffic will be doing like on that specific road and how that reconstruction process has just affected traffic in terms of the traffic reduction in that specific area. Also, being Entertainment Thursday, I'll be speaking to Elaine Mwange, a female gospel artist. We get to look at her music journey, how it has been for her being in the gospel industry and especially being a female in the music industry. Many thanks for making time this morning. My name is Doreen Arange.
Indeed, the EPL season is back, and we thank God, especially those who enjoy watching a little bit of soccer. But now, yesterday, Arsenal took a tumble. We want to convey our, deep felt, emotions to all those Arsenal fans. Indeed, kusupport Arsenal lazima ukwe na roho ngumu kama ya ukinyi. Yes, 3-0 loss to Manchester City yesterday as the EPL began under new different directives under the coronavirus, measures as the world, just tries to come to terms with this pandemic. Good morning, I'm Regina Manyara, and at the same time, something was happening at the UN Security Council is that now we're going to be facing a runoff, or rather a second round of voting after Kenya scored, or rather garnered only 113 votes instead of the 128 required for a 2/3 majority for a non-permanent seat at the UN Security Council. Sam, just to give you some of the already UN Security Council non-permanent members of the UN Security Council include India, Mexico, Norway, Estonia, Niger, St. Vincent and Grenadines, Tunisia, Vietnam. Now, Djibouti and Kenya are going to head on to the second round of voting today, and that will decide if Kenya is going to take up that seat as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council. So do keep it right here. We'll be keeping you informed on all that is happening regionally, locally, and even across the board.
And at 9 minutes past the top of the hour, time for our fast traffic link-up segment. This is actually the map of just how Manyanja Road is looking like. But before we get to look at how traffic is doing on this specific road, let me just show you where this road branches off. This is Outer Ring Superhighway, the latest highway to be reconstructed in the country. This is how actually this road looks like. It was reconstructed to make it an 8-lane road to reduce traffic congestion along this road, because Outer Ring Road serves quite a number of estates. The number of estates that just ply this specific route are really quite numerous, and also the fact that there are a number of businesses. This is in both large scale as well as small scale kind of businesses. So it's one of those busy roads, and it branches off to quite a number of roads as well. Comes all the way from Mombasa Road, and it goes all the way to Thika Superhighway. It branches off to Jogoo Road, Juja Road, as well as Manyanja Road, which is our focus this morning. So I just wanted to show you the image of how Outer Ring Road looks like, so that when I show you how Manyanja Road looks like and how it branches off, then you can get to understand where that road branches from. Now, the Kenyan Urban Roads Authority had also mentioned that any road that is going to be reconstructed as of now, or any road that is earmarked for reconstruction, they will ensure that at least they also put the non-motorized transport system. It is also the same on this specific road. But in terms of traffic, we'll get to see how that has impacted traffic. But just away from this main road, which actually branches off to this road, which is our focus. Now, this is Manyanja Road. It serves a number of estates coming all the way from Donholm, Jacaranda, as you come to the city center, again all the way from Kayole. So it's also one of those busy road, but it is the road inside the estates. Now, if you look at this specific road, this is the Outer Ring Road. This is the main highway used by anyone, everyone, both vehicles, both pedestrians as well. The same case is for this one, but this is the road inside the estates. So this just shows you that the Kenyan Urban Roads Authority is just not in a bid to reconstruct, major highways, but also the minor or the slip roads, if you may. So this also constitutes of roads inside the estates, and this is how at least this road is looking like. So it is also a bit manageable. It is unlike how it was before the reconstruction process. But let's look at how traffic is doing and how that reconstruction has probably impacted the traffic. This is still along Manyanja Road, which is our focus. I had mentioned to you that this road branches off from Outer Ring Superhighway, and this is just where it branches off from what used to be the Donholm roundabout. On the other side of the highway, it branches off to Jogoo Road. On the other side, branches off to Manyanja Road. Now, Manyanja Road serves also a number of estates. I had mentioned to you the estates earlier, but in terms of traffic, clearly, I'm not so sure if that reconstruction process is really serving any good in terms of traffic, because as of now, just a couple of minutes past 7 a.m., and the traffic being witnessed on this specific road, it's quite unmanageable, because especially on this lane that is coming from the estates that ply the same route, as you head over to what used to be the Donholm roundabout, going all the way to Jogoo Road, or even branching off, going to Outer Ring Road on the other side, or even on the other side as you head all the way to Thika Road. On that specific lane, traffic just moving pretty slowly. There's a difference in color. This is on the lane that is leaving the estates, as well as the lane that is leaving the city center, or even leaving Outer Ring Road as you head over to Manyanja Road. The difference in color there, for the benefit of our viewers, you can see the red and the orange color, an indicator on the other lane that the red just showing that traffic is moving pretty pretty slowly. On the other lane, though, where we are seeing a bit of orange there, an indicator that traffic has begun to build up there. But in as much as, yes, traffic has begun to slightly build up, but it is also quite manageable. Now, what this also means is that if you are coming from the estates that ply Manyanja Road, as I had mentioned to you, then this could probably be the best time for you to do that, because in as much as, yes, there's traffic specifically on that lane that is leaving the city center, it is also quite manageable. On the other lane that is leaving the estates, then traffic is just really built up, actually just all the way from the estates along that specific route, traffic just building up all the way as you head to the city center. But unlike major roads where we normally see traffic police, or even major roundabouts where we normally see traffic police stationed up early and bright to try and control traffic, it is not quite the same case on this specific road, because as I had shown you the images earlier, this is one of those roads inside the estates. So ultimately, we also do not expect to see, you know, any traffic police there per se to try and control traffic. It is unlike what you'd expect to see along Outer Ring, Superhighway, or even Thika Road, or even Mombasa Road. On this specific one, just looks, there's no traffic police there, I can quite assure you that. But even at that, at least traffic is beginning to quite open up on the same lane that we had looked on earlier. And that is what I keep telling you all the time. The traffic changes every single minute, because when you are looking at this lane, earlier on, a couple of minutes ago, when we were beginning to just check the traffic along Manyanja Road, on this lane that is leaving the estates as you come to the, actually the lane that is leaving the city center, as you head over to the estates, there was a bit of orange, if you can remember, on this specific area, just an indicator that traffic building up, but moving at a pretty fast pace. As of now, there's none of that. And there's a difference in color, which just shows you that there's no traffic at all. In fact, it's moving pretty fast. So that again means that for those that are coming from Outer Ring Road, that is all the way from Mombasa Road, branching off to the road that you're looking at, which is Manyanja, as well as coming from the other side of Outer Ring from Thika Superhighway going all the way to the estates. This could be the best time for you to do that, because because actually there's no traffic at all. But for those that are coming from the estates, as you head over to the city center, well, just as you get over to that Donholm roundabout, then you may just have to make do with that traffic there. But in the next link-up segment, we'll be trying to look at some alternative routes, especially for those that ply Manyanja Road. But as of now, up next, our segment in the headlines.
Our social media platforms are up and running. At the bottom of your screen, they are at Ram Aguko, at Jane Wamboy, at Ray Manyara, and at Doreen Arange. The official station handle is at KBC Channel 1. The hashtag is Good Morning Kenya. Make sure that you keep tweeting and keep texting. I'm already seeing comments on our Facebook live video. I'm seeing so many have tuned in already. Keep watching as you give us your thoughts in regards to what is making headlines in the headlines. Starts now. Let's take a look at what is taking center stage both locally, nationally, and international. With the front page of the Standard newspaper on Jubilee politics, NASA dead. Ruto and Kalonzo join Uhuru Raila axis. That is in the headlines there on the splash of this paper. Opposition leaders formally signed pact with Jubilee Party to build a powerful alliance against Deputy President. Move technically makes 2017 coalition a shell, with ODM deep in bed with government, leaving Mudavadi and Wetangula isolated. There is an image there at the bottom of Chama cha Mashinani leader Isaac Ruto, Wiper boss, that is Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, and the Jubilee Vice Chair David Murathe, who addressed journalists yesterday at the Jubilee headquarters in Nairobi after signing a cooperation agreement. They held a press briefing in regards to that. NASA dead. Ruto and Kalonzo join Uhuru Raila axis. Now let's take a look at more in regards to this story inside the paper. Now we have NASA dead as Kalonzo Ruto join power axis. Agreement signed yesterday with We'll See Wiper and CCM, that is Chama cha Mashinani. Chama cha Mashinani back Uhuru's agenda in Parliament. Now, the National Super Alliance, NASA, faces dissolution after two partner parties entered into a cooperation with ruling party Jubilee. According to Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, he says this, and I quote, "All these matters will be discussed in a brotherly manner. We are not an adversarial partner," end of quote. Now, by agreeing to the pact with the president's party, Wiper and CCM will officially end their political marriage with ODM leader Raila Odinga, Amani National Congress ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi, and Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula's Ford Kenya. Now, under the new deal, Wiper legislators will give up House positions they got by virtue of being part of alliance with Raila. NASA dead as Kalonzo, Ruto join power axis.
And keeping up with Jubilee politics this morning, also a similar story on the front page of the People's Daily, where the caption just reads, "Blow to Ruto as Wiper, CCM sign pacts with Jubilee." That story has been fleshed out in page 5 of the same paper. We'll be getting to look in depth of that story just a bit later. But still sticking with the front page, it just says that Jubilee Vice Chairman David Murathe briefs the media. That is with CCM party leader Isaac Ruto, who has also been pictured in there. The Jubilee Sec Gen Raphael Tuju also pictured there. There's the Wiper party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, as well as other leaders who just signed the pact. That was yesterday. But just looking inside the paper to see how that story has been fleshed out. Again, the caption is just still the same, but it says, former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka's Wiper Party and Chama cha Mashinani of former Bomet Governor, that is Isaac Ruto, yesterday, they signed a post-election cooperation deals with the ruling party, that is Jubilee. The agreements could further isolate the DP and derail his 2022 State House ambitions. Also, the two party leaders who have been critical of the DP led party officials to the signing that took place at Jubilee headquarters in Nairobi. They were hosted by the SG, that is Raphael Tuju, and the Vice Chairman, David Murathe. And just like what the caption or the header reads, "Blow to Ruto," begs the question, what next for the Deputy President, William Ruto?
Good question. Now, sticking up with matters of politics, as they say, is that a day in politics might actually seem like an eon or a year. So many things change with, every second, every minute. So yesterday, Wiper Party took center stage, and we have a headline there. There is Kalonzo pointing at the camera there through the lens. Kalonzo and Ruto sign pact with Jubilee. Now, CCM leader Isaac Ruto, Wipers, Kalonzo Musyoka, and Jubilee Vice Chairman there, David Murathe, at the Jubilee Party. That's what you're seeing on your screens this morning, has been captured on the front page of the Star. But now, before we speak about matters Jubilee Party, there's quite a header there, is that only Uhuru spared in the new anti-graft law. That's the front page of the Star, taking you all the way to just page 5, just to give you an overview of what that means in as far as the law is concerned. Now, corruption has been at the top of, the government's agenda, especially the president. And now it appears that President Uhuru Kenyatta is tightening the anti-corruption laws in radical changes that would make it mandatory for all state officers, including the deputy president, to step aside if charged. Now, in a bill tabled in the National Assembly on Tuesday, appointed state officers who are under graft investigations could be forced to step aside for 90 days even before they are charged. The statute law, the Miscellaneous Amendment Bill 2020, sponsored by Majority Leader Aden Duale, seeks to amend several other laws. Now, a section independent office holders, such as commissioners, from easily being forced out of office through graft prosecution. Now, if the proposed changes are approved, governors charged with corruption will be suspended at half pay, effective from the day of the charge until the conclusion of the case. That is what we have on the front page of the Star this morning. But now, still focusing on matters politics, especially with the latest development that we saw on the Wiper Party, is that Wiper announces divorce from NASA. Kalonzo declared intention after the party signed a cooperation deal with President Kenyatta's Jubilee. In case you missed the sound and pictures from that particular event that took place yesterday, our reporter Serafina Robi was there to capture it blow by blow. And this is a report.
After months of speculation, the top leadership of Wiper and Chama cha Mashinani parties made their way to the ruling party headquarters in Nairobi to seal a deal that has been shaping public discourse. Both the host and the visiting parties immediately go down to business, appending their signatures to official papers concretizing their coming together.
Right now, these parties are part of the NASA coalition. And as we have provisions in our constitution, they had a NASA coalition agreement pre-election. They are free to do a post-election coalition. But those, we shall cross that bridge when we get there.
This agreement, according to the three entities alongside the independent party KANU, whips their members into rallying behind President Uhuru Kenyatta's agenda.
It's also my privilege to host this function on behalf of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta. It is the dream and intention of President Uhuru Kenyatta to bring this country together. And by bringing this country together, it does not mean some people, but it means all the people of Kenya together.
With this pact, the two parties undertook to rally support behind the Building Bridges initiative in a bid to unite the country and steer it to development.
I'm quite sure we'll be able to move this country in the direction that is necessary. Our intention is to support President Uhuru Kenyatta fully in his declared intention to rid this country of corruption, his intention to unite this country.
Both Kalonzo and Ruto were, however, quick to point out their outfits are yet to sever ties with their parent coalition NASA.
I'm sure that the next thing you want to ask is, where do we go from here? We shall cooperate in terms of this agreement, cooperate fully in terms of enhancing Jubilee's programs in Parliament, in both houses of Parliament, the National Assembly, as well as the Senate.
The rationale behind that was that we wish to ensure peace. And we want to thank the leadership of Jubilee because they have gone out of their way to bring all the leaders to work together. Working together does not mean abandoning our ideals and abandoning our political parties. It means we are opening a new chapter in this country.
But ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi is taking none of it, maintaining that the move by Wiper to enter into a pact with NASA's rival coalition is an act of betrayal.
If you develop a pattern or a habit that you can enter into coalitions or you can enter into agreements and then you break them at will, it will only be a matter of time and people will come to the conclusion that if you enter into any agreement with these individuals, you are in trouble because they have a reputation of not honoring what they sign up to.
Mudavadi wonders why the Wiper Party leadership is yet to officially communicate its decision to operate away from the opposition coalition, terming the latest move mischievous.
If people feel that it's different, why not gather the courage and formally put it on pen and paper and say you have exited NASA because you prefer to make a certain arrangement. You remember the famous story, unaweka mguu moja huko, unaweka huko, alafu unatembea paka, wanasema utapasuka musanda. Yeah. So let us tell Kenyans, what do we really want?
Well, this comes as a big shakeup, with all eyes now directed to the Parliament, the parliamentary committees, the Senate, to see if there will be any forthcoming changes. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Sarafina Robbie.
Now let's get updates in regards to what's happening with the in terms of the impeachment of the governor of Kirinyaga County, Anne Waiguru. Kibicho fights for his job over Waiguru ouster. That is on the front page at the top of the Standard newspaper. It wasn't me. Interior Principal Secretary finds himself in unfamiliar territory after he was linked to the push to kick out embattled Kirinyaga governor. Now, yesterday, Kibicho dared his accusers to table evidence linking him to the dispute. Now, inside the Standard newspaper, now that is at the front page, at the top page. P.S. Kibicho, I have no role in Waiguru's political woes. That is what he says. Now, yesterday was a day after Senate Minority Leader James Orengo claimed that those persecuting the governor were not MCS but somebody, quote-unquote, from outside. Now, Kibicho sought to know if the pronouncements were directed at him, and he said he is not the one. Interior Principal Secretary Karanja Kibicho could become a casualty of the political storm triggered by the impeachment of Governor Anne Waiguru. Yesterday, Kibicho fought off claims that he had a hand in the June 9th vote by MCAs against the governor, with whom he has had a long-running feud related to governance affairs in their Kirinyaga home turf. Pressure piles on top state official as Uhuru demands answers on why civil servants are engaging in politics. Now, Interior Principal Secretary and Governor have had a long-running feud related to governance affairs in Kirinyaga. P.S. Kibicho says, I have no role in Waiguru's political woes.
And just like the different ousters happening in different counties for different governors, just looks like it's not only Kirinyaga County, as 4 more governors stare at ouster. This is after Waiguru. We also have an image of Governor Anne Waiguru there, as well as that of Kitui Governor. And as Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru prepares to face her accusers next week, 5 more county chiefs are in line for the chopping board, and this is with their regional assemblies planning to impeach them over alleged graft and abuse of office. Now, these governors include Governor Charity Ngilu of Kitui, Salim Mvurya of Kwale, Wycliffe Wangamati of Bungoma, Patrick Haemba of Trans Nzoia, and Isiolo's Mohammed Kuti, and they're not sitting pretty. This is after their respective county assemblies warned that the ouster motion will be tabled. So it looks like the ouster motion is not just for Kirinyaga County Governor, as 4 others stare at the same. But coming back to Kirinyaga politics, there's also a header that just says, well, we'll conduct fair process, says the team probing Waiguru's ouster. And the 11-member special committee formed to investigate the impeachment of the embattled Kirinyaga governor, that is Anne Waiguru, has come out to fight off claims that it has been compromised to cleanse the latter of any wrongdoings. Now, this is even as disgruntled voices are pointing an accusing finger at opposition chief, that is Raila Odinga, of marshalling his troops in the Senate to rescue the governor. We have the image of Senator Cleopas Malala, who was elected the chair of the special committee on Governor Anne Waiguru ouster. And while addressing the press, this is after the vote or after that election, Malala condemned some of his colleagues and members of the National Assembly who have cast aspersion on the team's capacity to impartial and instead promise to conduct a fair process. There's also a bite from the same senator where he says that we assure the people of Kirinyaga that all parties will be treated equally. Will they really be treated equally? Let's wait and see next week.
Trouble is still brewing there for embattled Anne Waiguru. She still makes headlines, even as, her ouster from, the county assembly by MCAs on Tuesday. Still, the war still rages on. She appears to be at the center of some serious controversy, with pro-Jubilee allied, members and others from different sections just coming in to weigh in. Now, Waiguru was impeached by the words reps in a chaotic sitting last Tuesday, in now what threatens to dim her political career. Now, some have not expressed confidence in the Senate committee. Now, some fear it will be used to clear Governor Waiguru pending charges. Now, the all 11-member committee formed to look into, the impeachment of Governor Anne Waiguru has denied claims that it is out to save her and promised to deliver justice. The meeting for the first time, the committee through its chairman Cleopas Malala condemned lawmakers who have cast aspersions on its capacity to be impartial. Some of the critics include Mutira Ward Rep Kenywa Wangoi, who moved the impeachment motion, vowed that he will not give up his mission to have the county boss kicked out of office. Quoted there is Waiguru special. Why can't her impeachment be handled like that of former Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waitito? At the same time, just sharing some information about what powers of that particular 11-member committee is that in fact, the plenary does not even have the canvas or debate the merits or the demerits of the allegation put forward by a county assembly pushing for the governor's impeachment, with the report only being noted for record. If the special committee reports that the particulars of any allegation against the governor have not been substantiated, no further action shall be taken under this session in respect of that allegation. Now, that is section 75(4)(a) of the Senate Standing Orders. However, if the special committee reports that the particulars of any allegation against the governor have not been substantiated, the Senate shall, after according the governor an opportunity to be heard, vote on the charges. Both politicians and analysts have weighed in on this debate that gives the committee sweeping powers to even clear a governor facing impeachment without any recourse to the House. So, the sights and pictures of that particular impeachment motion and what it means as far as the political dynamics are concerned. Kevin Washira reports.
The Senate Select Committee on Impeachment of Governor Anne Waiguru held its first meeting Wednesday to elect its leadership as well as plan its sittings. Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala was elected unopposed as the chairperson, while nominated Senator Abshiro Halake was elected as the vice chairperson. The sole agenda being to serve justice to both County Governor Anne Waiguru and County Assembly of Kirinyaga amid a negative public perception against the Senate.
There is what we call public perception, but we are not guided by public perception. We have been selected by the House to transact on behalf of the House, and I want to assure Kenyans that we shall not be influenced by anybody. And I also want to take this opportunity to caution members of National Assembly not to delve with issues in the Senate. We are two separate houses. Let them conduct their business in the National Assembly and not interfere with business in the Senate. We are an independent house.
The Senate's committee is expected to start its sittings on Monday, but the first hearing will be accorded to the Kirinyaga County Assembly on Tuesday next week. Governor Anne Waiguru will submit her response on Wednesday next week. The senators are expected to retreat on Thursday to write a report which will be tabled before the House on Friday next week. If the committee reports that the particulars of any allegation against the governor have not been proven, the matter shall die and the Senate will be bound by the report. But if the committee finds the allegations to be true, the governor shall be accorded a hearing before the Senate before the Speaker puts the question.
Tunaenda kufanya kazi hii kwa usawa na hakuna mtu yote ambaye atatushurutisha. Ningependa kukashifu wale wabunge wa bunge la kitaifa ambao wamekuwa mstari wa mbele kusema kwamba kuna msimamo fulani wa chama. Sisi hatufanyi kazi hapa kama vyama.
Mambo ambayo yako ndani ya Senate na yanakuwa yanaangaliwa, yanachunguzwa ili ukweli uweze kujulikana. Itakuwa ni makosa sana kwa mtu kusema ya kwamba sisi tutakuwa kama mwosho mmoja.
Kevin Washira, Channel 1 News.
Now, President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta has led a final campaign to have Kenya elected to the United Nations Security Council, that is the UNSC, saying that the move, if successful, would advance the Pan-Africanist agenda of global peace, solidarity, and multilateralism. According to the president, and I quote, he says, "We want you to believe in us. We want you to trust us. We want you to see our track record over the years. Stand with us as Kenya stands with you. A vote for Kenya is a vote for global solidarity." End of quote. Uhuru rallies envoys to vote Kenya to UN Security Council. Now, in his final pitch to earn seat on world's respectable table, President says a vote for Kenya is a vote for global peace. African Union endorses country's candidature to advance Pan-African agenda. But now the President thanked UAU for endorsing Kenya's bid for the Security Council slot, saying if elected, the country would use the privileged position to advance a Pan-Africanist agenda for peace, multilateralism, and global solidarity. Uhuru rallies envoys to vote Kenya to UN Security Council.
And now keeping up with the UN Security Council, remember that Kenya had also served in the same spot 2 times. This is one of those times between the years of 1973 and 1974. But now Kenya battles with Djibouti for UN Council seat, where Kenya was yesterday locked in a head-to-head battle. This is for the UN Security Council non-permanent seat with Djibouti, as voting got underway in New York, that was in the US. Now, the unprecedented race saw Djibouti push Kenya for the East African slot down to the wire against traditions set by the African Union, which has always presented a united front as far as the UN elections are concerned. But also, last year, both Kenya and Djibouti had declared their candidature, but the former, which is Kenya, had got an endorsement, that is from the AU, which strengthened its claim for the prize. Now, the Kenyan ambassador Lazarus Amayo had also mentioned that endorsement is the ultimate expression of multilateralism. Endorsements are a tradition we must jealously guard. Also, Kenya had tabled its 10-point agenda, and among them include youth empowerment, gender equality, amongst other issues that Kenya had tabled in its 10-point agenda.
Now, still keeping up with that, the question is, you'd want to ask yourself, why is it important for Kenya to have a seat at, the Security Council? Now, as a non-permanent member, Kenya may not have much clout, though, on the substantive decisions that are often manipulated by the permanent members with veto power. Some of, permanent members of the UN Security Council include France, Russia, UK, the United States of America, and China. Now, but being a member brings it with this a chance to be the president of the council, a rotational post where you can push through your agenda. It also enables a country a chance to elevate its agenda and image on the global stage. If you look at our Kenyan history, especially where in regard to, matters of security, we have been hit, by issues of terrorism, and the steps that the government has taken to ensure that our borders are secure. We know we have our KDF forces all the way in Somalia. This particular voting is going into round 2 today. Yesterday, Kenya went short of 15 crucial points, or rather votes, to garner 2/3 majority in that first round of votes at 113, while Djibouti got 78. So, come the next round of voting, will Kenya take, or rather carry the day, or will Djibouti carry the day? This conversation is already trending on social media under the hashtag Djibouti, as well as the UN Security Council. How about to get a sneak peek of what happened yesterday during that virtual voting process?
Of the Security Council election. Group A, African and Asia Pacific states, 2 seats. Number of ballot papers, 192. Number of invalid ballots, 0. Number of valid ballots, 192. Abstentions, 0. Number of members present and voting, 192. Required two-thirds majority, 128. Number of votes obtained, India, 184. Kenya, 113. Djibouti, 78.
Now, in other news, there's a story on how U.S. missionary positioned himself to prey on children when Gregory Doe and his wife arrived in Bomet with a promise to give orphans a bright future. Villagers welcomed them with open arms, but on Monday, Doe pleaded guilty to sexually abusing 4 girls. It has been 7 years, but the trauma that 4 girls endured in the hands of an American missionary they had grown to trust is still fresh. The 4 girls were sexually molested by Gregory Doe, who is pictured there, who is a 61-year-old man at a children's home in Boito, Bomet County, between 2013 and 2017. Now, Doe fled the country together with his wife in 2017 to avoid arrests. This is a story on how U.S. missionary positioned himself to prey on children. Talk about using religion to do your own personal vendetta.
And sticking with matters religion, remember that this is some of the places that were closed since the first case was announced here in the country, just to reduce on the infection rate, churches among them. And now Uhuru to receive reopening of churches report on July, where a team has now been set up to come up with strategies to pave the way for the reopening of places of worship. They will submit its interim report to the president. That will be by July 6th. Now, the Interreligious Council, headed by Archbishop Anthony Muheria of Nyeri Catholic Archdiocese, which is expected to advise the government on the best ways to go about the reopening of these places of worship. So Muheria also said that opening of public worship will largely depend on how we Kenyans decide to comply with all those indications we are receiving. It also depends on how we protect our sisters and brothers by following measures and thereby making it safe even to meet with minimal risk. So they're just looking for ways in which people can still congregate and meet in places of worship but still ensure there's minimal risk of contracting the COVID-19 virus.
So much debate about which priority areas should government focus on in as far as opening up the economy and supporting the economy going forward during these uncertain times of COVID-19. So many debates, with a section saying that schools need to be reopened first, while others are focusing on the bars and restaurants also. And now there's a debate as to when is the right time to open religious, gatherings or other places, that may be the temples, the mosques and churches. Now, other countries have gone ahead of Kenya, and other countries have suffered a high number of infections resulting from church gatherings. So what is your take about this reopening of churches, given, we're expecting that they're supposed to table in their report in July to the president? For instance, in Germany, a cluster of 112 infections and 1 death were traced to a church, while in West Virginia, the United States, we had 30 cases traced to a church. Now, quoted there is Archbishop Muheria, noted that the council's efforts will only be successful if Kenyans are willing to comply with the government regulations, among them social distancing and proper sanitation. The reopening of our public places of worship will largely depend on our willingness to protect each other, making it safe to meet with minimal risks. Yusuf Farah has more details on that particular report.
Pursuant to President Uhuru Kenyatta's directive for the development of procedures that will guide the reopening of places of worship for in-person congregational gatherings, Cabinet Secretaries Mutahi Kagwe and Dr. Fred Matiang'i jointly appointed the Interfaith Council that will guide this process. The council kicks off action today.
The Ministries of Interior and Health will constitute an interfaith council to work out modalities and protocols of reopening of our places of worship.
Speaking during its inauguration, Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i disclosed that the government will provide the council chaired by Archbishop Anthony Muheira with the necessary support, but urged the 16-member committee must take into consideration government-set guidelines on COVID-19.
We will have some of our modeling people from the command center interact with you so that you also see the data and the statistics that we have based upon which we are making these decisions.
His sentiments were echoed by his health counterpart Mutahi Kagwe, who warned that the virus is on an upward trajectory, citing this as the reason not to be complacent in the ongoing war against the global pandemic.
We must begin as a people to look ahead and ask ourselves what is going to happen during this period, during COVID-19, and specifically post-COVID-19, what happens then? Life must continue.
Muheira, who leads the advisory council, delivered an undertaking to be objective and candid on the task that currently rests in their hands.
You've urged us to consult, candid and blunt, practical and pragmatic, consultative, engage those who can help us, and you have put at our disposal all those engagements.
Yusuf Farah, Channel 1 News, Nairobi.
Now that is how COVID is affecting the religious sector. And the question is, what will be the way forward? We shall be waiting to see how that will pan out. Remember, here on KBC, we shall be keeping you updated in regards to that. But now, how is COVID-19 affecting the different counties? And how prepared are our county governments? Well, county to the rescue of traders hit by COVID-19. Laikipia County has crafted a 2 billion shilling economic stimulus package to cushion small businesses from disruptions caused by the raging coronavirus pandemic. Through a partnership with the Kenya Commercial Bank Group, the county is working to help small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, that have been hit by the pandemic to access cheap loans. Picture there you have an image of Governor Ndiritu Murithi towards the left, with the KCB Group Chief Operations Officer Samuel Makome during yesterday's signing of an MOU for a 2 billion shilling stimulus package for SMEs in Laikipia. Now, up to 5,000 small businesses that closed shop or are struggling to get soft loans at 7.5% interest instead of 12%. Laikipia strikes deal with KCB.
Now, still on matters COVID-19 and how it is affecting different counties. Remember the striking of the health workers in Kisii and Kisumu counties. Now, it just looks like those health workers in Kisumu County are now daring the governor there to sack them. This is after the strike notice they issued, and they went on strike just decrying some of the issues that have not been met, some of their cries that have not been met by the county government, that is in Kisumu County, where now these health workers have dared the governor to sack them, maintaining that the ongoing strike will continue until their demands are met. That is by the county government of Kisumu. They also demanded that the governor take action against officials believed to have misappropriated funds meant for that promotion. According to the union officials, some 250 million Kenyan shillings was allocated in the budget for their members' promotions, and additional 38 million in the supplementary budget, but the money was yet to be paid out to these health workers who are now crying for their pleas to be met. And also the governor had threatened to sack the striking workers if they failed to return to work by Friday last week. And so this is why the striking health workers are now daring the governor to sack them if he hasn't yet met their demands, which I've just mentioned to you, their demands there.
Now, away from matters of striking and daring, frontline workers in Kisii and Kisumu, how about now counties have drafted protocols in reopening of the economy? Now, governors want a state to set up adequate testing centers. Quoted there is Chairman Wycliffe Oparanya on the Star this morning, wants the national government to set up adequate testing centers in the border counties to expedite the process. The long queues of trucks have been experienced throughout the week at border counties, leading to an increased number of cases. He said, in as far as support of different counties is concerned, is that county governments have set up 453 ICU beds and 187 hospitals to deal with the coronavirus. Oparanya said that they have 180 active quarantine facilities across the counties. He said a further 5 counties have already had isolation facilities with a 300-bed capacity in line with the president's directive. Is it so? How are various counties reacting, or rather taking action against COVID-19, especially in as far as stemming the spread of COVID-19 and ensuring that within their devolved units, at least Kenyans have a semblance of normalcy amid the abnormality of COVID-19? Beatrice Gatonya has did a spot check on what is happening in the counties.
Health workers in Embu County staged a peaceful demonstration blaming the county government of allegedly turning a deaf ear to their grievances. The workers lamented over COVID-19 allowances, personal protective equipment, among other grievances that they say the county administration has failed to address.
Toka leo wafanyikazi wanasema watafanya kazi kama mahitaji yao yamesikizwa na yametendwa vile wanataka.
Elsewhere, Kenyans have been urged to stop stigmatizing their fellow men and women alongside children who have contracted the coronavirus disease. Health Principal Secretary Dr. Susan Mochache says branding infected persons as coronavirus victims was depressing to the affected. Speaking after inspecting the Mathare Nyayo Hospital, Mochache said coronavirus disease is like any other disease which with the right management can be cured.
Hatufai kutenga mtu wowote ambaye ako na ugonjwa wa virusi vya corona, na akishapata matibabu na amepona, mtu huyo atakuwa ako sawa kabisa. Hakuna haja ya kumuogopa au ya kukataa kuwa karibu naye.
In the meantime, cases of domestic violence and sexual offenses have increased in Migori County since the curfew period was announced. County's woman representative Pamela Odhiambo and Deputy County Commissioner Kimani Maina attributed the state of affairs to heightened tensions within households and restrictions on income-generating activities needed to sustain families.
Children are ours, the wives are ours, the husbands are ours, the old mamas are also ours. Please, it is high time we relearn how to live collectively together as a peaceful society.
And an employee at Galot Estate in Kiambu town who is also suffering from hearing impairment is seeking justice after he was assaulted by people well known to him. Duke Nyanchoka, a dog handler at the estate, is said to have been attacked by 2 workers at the estate after they clashed while implementing COVID-19 guidelines within the estate.
Kumekuwa na makesi za harassment na tumekuwa na maubisi ambao tumereport, but no action has been taken so far. There are around 10 cases ambao tumereport.
Na tukiuliza hata wale ambaye disabled wengine haki zao zimekosa kupatikana sababu ya yale mambo ambaye iko katika nchi hii ya Kenya, tunataka ya kwamba yote serikali ichukue hatua ya dharura katika wale ambaye IOs ambaye hawapeleki hizi kesi kotini.
Finally, Commissioner General of Prisons Wycliffe Ogalo says strict precautionary measures have been put in place to ensure that inmates do not contract the coronavirus in all the 129 correctional facilities across the country.
That one basic thing and one basic strategy towards combating COVID-19, sanitation, is observed.
Beatrice Gatonyengetich, Channel 1 News.
Now, let's head over to the world of business. Now, do you have a bank loan? Well, Kenyans have a reason to smile. Some Kenyans, rather, if at all we talk about defaulters. Because in the headline today, we have defaulters smile as Corona saves assets from auction. According to the Central Bank of Kenya data shared during a webinar with the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, 32 out of 39 banks have restructured loans for 10 sectors of the economy, with trade leading at 26.3%, followed by real estate accounting for 18.6%. Now, tourism and hotel account for 13.6%, and manufacturing makes up 13.6% also. Now, the real estate market is more or less dead, as banks are now refusing to finance new development, and real estate developers abandon plans for new projects to focus on selling off existing property. Now, auctioneers, auctioneers from different sectors are required under the law to state the date, time, and venue of the auction after the courts have given direction for repossession. Defaulters smile as Corona saves assets from auction.
Now, looking at matters COVID-19 and how it has affected different sectors of businesses, and most especially those in the small and medium enterprises, and also how different sectors are trying to come up to at least help those in this medium enterprises to continue doing their businesses. Now, the Visa unveils plan to support SMEs, where Visa, the world's leader in digital payment, has launched its new Where You Shop Matters initiative. This aims to champion and enable entrepreneurs in Kenya while encouraging consumers to support small businesses alongside a new SMB resource hub. So it was published during the COVID-19 Summer Impact Tracker, highlighting the recent effects this virus pandemic has had on commerce for consumers and small merchants in Kenya, and just trying to look for ways in which they can protect this SMEs and help ensure that, and ensure that people can still continue their businesses regardless of how COVID-19 has affected those businesses. Now, also, another platform that has that people have really ventured into during the COVID-19 time is technology, innovations. So now women-led tech firms to get 5 million Kenyan shillings, where 5 women-led tech businesses will benefit from a 5 million fund to help their startups develop. The 5 startups will each receive 1 million, are part of Women in Tech program competition. This was funded by the Standard Chartered Bank, and the CEO Kariuki Ngari said businesses that have adapted to tech during this period of the COVID-19 time are thriving, showing the importance of technology. Just trying to show that regardless of how difficult times are, and especially during this COVID-19, we can venture into different aspects, especially the online platforms. And now it looks like those that have ventured into these platforms are set to benefit, and not just benefit, but really benefit greatly.
Now, still keeping up with matters business and talking about, the fiscal policy, the fiscal tax policy. Now, just barely a week or so since Okurio Tane, who is the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary there, presented the budget 2020-2021. 2.73 trillion shillings for the fiscal year 2020-2021. The question is, where do we get the money? Now, MPs are seeking to end haphazard tax measures in a bid to boost trade. Now, the Kenya Revenue Authority and Treasury have been on the spot for tax changes at the start of the fiscal periods and change in taxation clauses, leading to long-running battles with businesses such as gaming farms last year. Now, in order to enhance the stability of the taxation system in the country, consideration should be done on the possibility of approving taxation measures, revenue-raising measures, and tax incentives to operate for 3 financial years. That is a proposal by the Parliament Budget Office. Now, what they are proposing is that members say any tax measures, including what the Finance Bill 2020 has in store for us, is that tax is about to be changed, or rather, Treasury has proposed that the reintroduction of a 14% VAT on liquefied gas, that is LPG gas, or what you know as just gas, and this is definitely going to affect the price of LPG gas. Then what does it mean in government's efforts to just, support the use of clean energy? Remember the anti-logging ban, So, members say that any tax measures should be given at least 3 years to gauge its impact before any amendment is proposed. This, they argue, will provide some level of predictability and enable investors to make informed long-term decisions. Now, as you're talking about decisions, especially in the economic, the tourism sector has been worse hit by COVID-19. And quoted there is the Ministry of Tourism saying that they're working on a proposal just to find out, or rather to see how best to open up this subsector that contributes roughly between 12 to 15% of GDP. With the travel restrictions and, the issues of social distancing, is that several people in the hotel industry are finding themselves having to adapt to the new way of doing business. How about we look at those proposals that, you know, the tourism industry is about to, you know, just put forth so that they can continue eking a living from the otherwise lucrative subsector. With our reporter, Ram Aguko.
Over 90% of tourism earnings, amounting to billions of shillings, has so far been wiped out since the collapse of the sector in early March. This means a drastic reduction of 170 billion shillings in receipts, or a 10% of the GDP lost, as most players shut down their businesses. To this end, the government says revival plans are in top gear.
The strategies we have put in place are very important, and we have liaised with global partners internationally to make sure that we are seamless. We have developed the protocols. The protocols are ready. The minute the country is opened, we will roll out those protocols. But those protocols are not only unique for Kenya, they are global protocols which have been endorsed. And we are working with World Tourism and Travel Council to get the stamp or the certification that our protocols are compliant internationally.
CS Balala, speaking in Watamu, Kilifi County, after releasing a fully recovered sea turtle during the World Sea Turtle Day, said that the government was also looking to reopen the sector in phases by stimulating growth from the local tourism industry first, given its unique sense of tastes.
In the next 1 year, we can work hard on the domestic market, and I believe that can be attractive. But again, the stakeholders of the tourism industry must appreciate a domestic market has a different taste, and they're sensitive in pricing. So the pricing must be right for the domestic market. International market will come end of the year 2021, and that market also is not to replace the domestic market, but to work concurrently.
At the same time, Balala urged tourism stakeholders to exercise patience as the government moves to actualize the 3 billion shilling stimulus package announced by the National Treasury CS Ayuku last week during his budget speech.
Yes, it's just been announced, so it has a whole process of parliament. The minute the parliamentary process is over, we are also in the process of creating the legal framework and also the guidelines how this money will be dished out. But definitely, 3 billion shilling is a drop in the ocean, but that is what the budget is available for now.
CS Balala also toured the Watamu Marine Association Plastic Recycling Center and the Bioken Snake Farm in the resort town. Ram Aguko, Channel 1 Business.
Now, let's head over to the world of sports. But before we touch on a lot, I am aware that yesterday Regina had mentioned earlier about Arsenal. Well, I know she will not fail to talk about that. But let me touch on one issue here. On the back page of the Standard, we have key players behind Bayern League title. Bayern Munich were crowned German champions for the 30th time in the club's history on Tuesday night, as the Bavarian giants secured an 8th straight Bundesliga title. Here, AFP Sport looks at key players from Bayern's league-winning championships. Now, key players including Alphonso Davies and Robert. Now, remember, our picture there we have Bayern's Robert Lewandowski, who controls the ball during their German Bundesliga match against Werder Bremen in Bremen, Germany on Tuesday. And picture there also have Bayern Munich's Thomas Müller. Once the German giants recovered from poor start, they barely looked back under the flick. Now, still in other sports news, we still have, after 24 years of wait, Wabwaya thinks it's their time to triumph. This is in hockey. 2 years ago, Dunston Wabwaya made his Hockey African Cup of Nations debut against Ghana, but his big day ended on a 3-0 defeat. This is in sports.
That's my producer or director out there, but it is just going to say that, yes, Arsenal lost in its first game of the English Premier League, but that doesn't mean that we are done. We are happy. EPL is back. Now, Friday's matches, Tottenham at 10:15 p.m. is going to be taking on Manchester United. And at 8 p.m., Norwich is going to be squaring it out with Southampton. And that is on the English Premier League. On the La Liga, we're also going to be having Barcelona and Sevilla at around 11 p.m. Those are Friday matches. and we just have to wait for just a few hours to get there. But just to remind you that Manchester, one of the Arsenal fans that we have here is reminding me of Real and Valencia are going to also be playing. But we want to remind him they lost and Manchester City won. Now we're waiting to see if this is going to be replicated, especially in the match between Tottenham and Manchester United.
Next on.
Ngoja niulize jamaa, nani hapa hivi amepimwa hivi majuzi?
Pale kwa Mwangi, si ni 10 bob?
Sijasema kupimwa weight. Saa hizi kupimwa HIV ni haraka na ni bure.
Go of me! God, please bring me my notebook, please.
What's with you, Pilar? For several days I've seen you acting strange, different, distant. You have a different attitude.
Pilar is a murderer. The one living in your house with your children. Is it your wife, Javier?
Uko na HIV, si eti ni mwisho. Wewe uko nayo? Mimi nilishapima.
Afya bora, maisha bora. Jipime, jiinue.
Dos corazones y un delirio. Desenfrenado amor el tuyo y el mío. Venimos de un solo mar, un solo río. Los 12 vientos de cariño.
Joel Muthe alikuwa huko pete na wakaongea na bibi yangu wa Yune sana.
Nataka uwe macho, mtazame kwa makini sana.
Naam. Kwani watanimaliza?
I didn't know you were coming.
Naona wako wote hapa Anafanya nini hapa?
Hilo jambo itabidi umuulize kama wewe mwenyewe.
Nitamuuliza, lakini pia na usisahau kitu moja. He'll always be loyal to us.
Kama kuna kasi anafanyia Chris. Kuna venye hao wawili siwaamini.
Sipendi kuomba.
Over the last few years, 375 Mexican women have been raped and murdered. No one is yet to be charged. An additional 700 Mexican women are still missing. No one knows who, no one knows why. You want to find out?
I'm Lauren Adrian from the Chicago Sentinel.
Rule number 1, you need an inside source.
Lauren, is that you?
It's me.
Some girl escaped.
This girl was attacked, strangled, buried, and left for dead. And she crawled out of her own grave. She wants to find the guys who did this. I will not let anything happen to you. And I will find this man. This is an important story.
Your story is destroy her. And they will kill you.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
bahasha nimepewa na gavana niwalete. Basi ile kuichukua akanipiga nao ya uso. Hariri huyu sitaki vitu vya gavana mimi.
Umekuwa